I'm Erik Halterman of RotoWire.com, and I'm in a weirdly dark hotel room in New York City for Tout Wars weekend. But in this video, I'll share 5 players who have been bright spots this spring. You probably weren't giving these guys much thought at the start of draft season, but they put themselves on the map with strong springs, and in some cases, injuries to players ahead of them on the depth chart. That's certainly the case with our first guy, Will Warren, who entered camp as probably the Yankees' 7th starter, but with Garrett Cole out for the year for Tommy John surgery and Luis Gil out for several months with a lat strain, it looks like Warren has a very good shot of opening the year in the rotation. Warren struggled to a 10.32 ERA in 22 2/3 innings last year, but look under the hood, you see a 26% strikeout rate with a 9% walk rate. Walk rate's a little high, but that's a fine combo, I would say. And this spring, Warren has a 1.54 ERA in 11 2/3 innings, striking out 12 batters, walking just 3. Warren should give you pretty decent strikeout numbers based on his track record and a strong chance at wins for the contending Yankees, assuming the Yankees don't do something weird like give the job to Carlos Carrasco, who looks pretty done. Moving on, we've got Cam Smith, who was acquired from the Cubs in the Kyle Tucker trade. He was the 14th overall pick in the 2024 draft, has only had 32 career games as a professional, 5 of them at AA, none of them at AAA. Smith is naturally a third baseman, but the Astros have been working him in at various positions, including the outfield, right field in particular, which makes it look like they want to use him maybe even right away in the opening day roster. And the way Smith's been performing through 10 spring games with his 1291 OPS, you can understand why the Astros would want him up right away. Scouts like Smith's raw power, but it was actually his contact that stood out in his brief debut last year, just an 18% strikeout rate. Smith could start over Chas McCormick in right, that shouldn't be too hard, or maybe Mauricio Dubon in the infield if he starts at third with Isaac Paredes moving over to second base. Lots of opportunities for Cam Smith to find his way into the Astros lineup. If you're enjoying this video, the like and subscribe buttons down below are the best way to let us know, though we accept nice comments as well, and mean ones too, I suppose. Don't really have any say in the matter. But do please let me know if you're taking a chance on any of these players this spring or any other similar players in this category. Our next guy here, Drake Baldwin, is a pretty good catching prospect just outside the top 100 here at RotoWire. It didn't look like he'd be in the opening day mix for Atlanta, but then Sean Murphy broke his rib and will miss the start of the season. Baldwin has already played in 72 AAA games and had an 891 OPS, so it looks like he's ready almost regardless of how Murphy's doing. Baldwin also walked nearly as often as he struck out last year, so demonstrating very good plate discipline for a young hitter. He projects to have good power and contact, but shaky defense, so we'll see what his long-term future holds. But Baldwin looks good this spring with a 955 OPS in 11 games and just 1 strikeout. He should get a chance to show what he can do at the start of the year, and if it's not working, this is actually a great year to be picking up catchers on waivers with a ton of good catching prospects set to arrive. Samuel Basallo, Dalton Rushing, Edgar Caro, Agustin Ramirez, Kyle Teal, Adrian Del Castillo, Moises Ballesteros. If you start the year with Drake Baldwin and it doesn't work, I think you'll actually be okay, so it's worth taking a chance. Sticking in the NL East, we've got Brett Baty. Didn't think I'd be talking about him this year. He's been just plain bad in parts of 3 MLB seasons so far. 602 plate appearances, he has 15 homers, 2 steals, and a .215 average. But Baty was supposed to be pretty good. He was a 12th overall pick in 2019 and was a pretty good prospect coming up through the minors. And he's crushing it this spring at 1101 OPS, just an 11% strikeout rate as well in 13 games. Jeff McNeil is set to miss opening day for the Mets with an oblique strain, which opens up an opportunity for either Brett Baty or Luis Angel Acuna at second base. Now, Baty hasn't played second in the majors so far and didn't spend an inning there in the minors until last year. So some legitimate questions about whether or not he's going to stick at second base long term, but the Mets look like they might want to give him a shot. I think it's time for one more chance on Brett Baty this spring. Speaking of one more chance, how about Gavin Sheets to round things out here? Also a guy I did not think I'd be talking about really ever again, unless he maybe went over to Korea and came back, something like that. Gavin Sheets looked like a quad A player with the White Sox, had a 680 OPS over parts of 4 seasons, hit .230, and if you take his home run numbers per 600 plate appearances, you only get 19. That's not real power either. Now, Sheets joined the Padres on a minor league deal in February, and I'm intrigued to see what he can do now that he's out of a depressing situation with the White Sox, who set all-time loss records. It's got to be good to get out of that kind of team. Sheets is crushing it this spring. A 10-11 OPS in 16 games with 5 homers. he looks like he could win the Padres opening day DH job. It's made easier by the fact that the top contestants are Yuli Gurriel, Connor Joe. I think even Gavin Sheets can beat those guys. At age 28, this could be a late career breakout for Sheets, and the cost should stay cheap enough that if it isn't, you can cut bait very quickly. That's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments which of these guys you'd most want to have on your team, and head on over to rotowire.com/try for free access to the site.